So let's have a look in this side of the kit. So in this side of the kit, I keep all of my basic tools, not the electrical, but all of the basic tools. So I've got 2 comb cases in here, and we'll unpack the comb cases and I'll show you all of the ingredients in there. I have a cape. Now, I'm going to say this again, I said it at the beginning, but these kits have just come off a job. So this is literally as it is on an everyday basis. I haven't tidied them up for the purposes of this shooting. I also keep this on-set bag, which on little jobs where I know the talent and I know the client and I know the hair and I know that we're just going to do something super specific and I only need 1 or 2 products, 1 or 2 tools, then I'll pack it in this little on-set bag and I don't have to take my 3 kits with me. When we are shooting on location, it's important to have this in your kit because you won't be, sometimes you have to travel quite a long way from the hair and makeup bus or from wherever you're doing your prep. And to be able to put a brush, some hair ties, some clips, a little bit of contingency stuff in a bag that you can throw over your shoulder and be ready for action for anything that you need is a lifesaver. This one is from Kit Kat Road, and Katrina is my friend, so I'm going to organize for you guys a discount code, and that'll be in the link in below this lesson for you to get a discount on Kit Kat Road bags. They're sick. Now, in here, as I said, is the basics. I've got my hair brushes, and we'll unpack that along with the combs. I've got my hair cutting gear, and we'll unpack that along with the combs. I've got my pins, and we'll unpack that along with the combs. Some hair ties or hair elastics. I've got a little bag of, what do you call these things? There's hair nets, there's head scarves, there's rain bonnets, and little extra bits and bobs that will save the day on a shoot. We'll unpack that in a minute. We've got clippers for cutting short hair. We've got a water spray, a couple of miles of hat elastic, some bondage tape, and some neck strips. So, shall we start with this bag here? There's a lot of little goodies in here. My favorite is the rain bonnet. That's a nice crackle. The rain bonnet is super useful if you're shooting on location, it's a slightly drizzly day, and you've done hair that will be easily affected by the weather if you're moving from the prep place to the location place, or if you're moving from one building to another and it's a bit drizzly and you've done beautiful hair, you don't want it to get ruined by the rain, you can easily just pop a granny's rain bonnet over the girl's head or the model's head and keeps the water off. It looks cute as well. So we've got a couple of those. We picked those up at you can pick them up at any pharmacy. These ones we picked up at a pharmacy in the British Midlands when we were shooting a campaign in the middle of winter, and it was basically, the clouds were so low, it was basically water in the air. In here, we also have a little silk scarf that we can use as an accessory or to tie the hair down and flatten it. We've got an unrolled hair form or donut, and I'll show you how to use those in another video on making shapes with forms. We've got some ribbon and a couple of wig caps and a whole range of thin hair nets in various colors. Again, I'll show you how to use these in a basics or fundamentals hair program to smooth out and make the most beautiful perfect chignon with no gel in 2 seconds. So that's that little baggie. As I said, clippers, scissors I keep pretty basic. I keep a cape, some cutting scissors, a cutting razor, cutting comb and sectioning clips in there. I just keep, you know, I'm pretty basic when it comes to cutting here. I've always only ever had one pair of scissors that I use. These ones are Excellent Edges. And I'm going to put a link down below this video for you to get a discount on Excellent Edges scissors. I personally love them. They do a great job. So I have a texturizing shear from them as well, and just a couple of straight blades. I keep in this little pouch that I found along the way some oil and some little tools for tightening up and adjusting the scissors, cutting comb, sectioning clips, and that's just a nice compact little cutting kit. Clipper guards and mini clippers. Now, we talked about this. This was, I think, about 2 kilometers or 2,000 meters of hat elastic or millinery elastic. The reason I got such a big roll is so that if we're doing a show and we're tying up multiple models' hair into ponytails, I want them all to be consistent with the same elastic. So when we do a show, we'll go along and cut a whole bunch of lengths of this elastic and lay them out so that everybody has the same elastic, the same length, and we can get consistency right across the board with the show. Now, it looks a bit disheveled and shambled, and we've got actually loads of different ends in here. Usually that's because I'm in a hurry, I can't find the end, so I just cut myself a length. I keep a pouch full of silver clips. These are amazing for doing blow dry sets, and when we do the section on session styling fundamental skills, you'll see when you do a stretch and burn set, or as Guido calls it, easy hair, which is not easy to do, then these are what you will need to set the hair. A basic set of elastics. So I can never get this thing open very easily. But as you can see, these ones have almost run out, but there's some clear elastics and some black elastics. Usually I like a few different sizes, but they're just for sealing the ends of braids and things like that. Snag-free elastics. Barber neck strips. Now these come in super handy to clip into the hair to keep it compact and to keep it contained both on shows and on set when you want the hair to be controlled but not squished. This is bondage tape. And yes, if you're thinking sex tape, that's exactly what it is. You get it from the sex shop. Now what it is a super high gloss latex that sticks to itself but doesn't stick to the hair. It has no adhesive on it, it just sticks to itself. So in a scenario where you're being super creative, or you want to add a high level of gloss or finish, or kind of like an amazing snatch pony with a plastic wrapped base that kind of cascades, this is the stuff, because you can wrap the hair and the hair doesn't stick to it, it just sticks to itself. Weirdly, the assistant that bought this for me had all the sex shops on speed dial and knew what hours they ran and what stock they had, thankfully. Let's have a look at the brushes. So I've got a pretty full kit of brushes, but to be honest, I pretty much only use 2 of them most of the time. I love the YS Park brush for blow drying for a round brush. I do have it in a range of sizes. That one needs a little clean, but I basically have four basic sizes. What I love about the YS Park brush is the fact that it has a row of nylon bristles and a row of natural bristles or boar bristles. It's super lightweight because of the design of the wood. The grips are really good. Basically what it does is it just polishes the hair like no other brush. I first discovered these when I first started assisting on Guido's team, and you know, half of the team had these, and you could just tell that the level of their blow dry and finish was a notch up. It was like, it went from good to amazing, and the brush had a big part to do with it. In the section on fundamentals, I'll talk to you about how to use the YS Park to do easy hair or stretch and burn. We have our mason, so I have the pocket and the standard, so I have a couple of different sizes of Mason Pearson. You can get something like a Mason Pearson But for some reason, and I don't know what it is, when other people make the same brush with the same bristles and the same construction, it's just not the same. The Mason Pearson is my go-to and the most amazing tool I've ever had. And in fact, I've bought a few of my assistants a gift of a Mason Pearson because they're not a cheap brush to buy, especially when you're starting out. And they're the sort of thing that lasts forever. One of my clients saw the state of my Mason on a shoot, and the next day, on day 2 of the shoot, turned up with a brand new Mason for me because it's so disheveled. I have a couple of beautiful pure bristle finishing brushes. They're not regular everyday use. These are more for smoothing and traditional sort of French hair up or hair dressing styles. I have a mini Denman, only because I haven't got around to getting a regular size Denman for blow drying bobs 80s and 90s styles. I've got a paddle brush, which is a multi-purpose brush, and in fact, probably part of the reason I don't have the Denman is because I have the paddle brush. This one's made from heat-resistant materials. It's super high strength, super high quality. In fact, I've had these 2 exact brushes I've had in my kit for over 10 years and they still look brand new. Again, with these brushes, the paddle brushes, I'm going to put a link in the down below this video, and you will be able to buy these brushes at 50% discount. Cheap as chips. I've also got a little pastiche brush in here. This is one that was a gift from my friends at GHD. To be honest, it's not one that I use all the time. I have a special French one that I got, which I'll show you in the comb kit. And then I've got this other, my friend Chris Sorby gave me this little mini dressing brush, which is similar to my mini Denman. So that's the brush kit. That's kind of everything in there. Let's take a look at the pins. Now, I've got 2 pin cases, one for black colored pins and one for bronze colored pins. In each of these cases, I keep some small ripple U pins. These are very strong, these are special pins. I'll tell you a little bit more about those in a minute. And then I keep longer ones. Where's the long ones? I keep the longer ones. These are 2-inch. And I keep some long standard bobby pins and some short standard bobby pins. That's basically it in my pin kit. This one's bronze, this one's black. Now, these U pins I first found in Paris, and then haven't been able to get them. I've tried to actually make them myself. I've tried to have them made myself, and I've never been able to get any this good. There's some almost as good, but they have a little protective silicone bead on the end so they don't scratch the hair. They're very, very strong. They don't bend easily, and they're very easy to pop in, catch the hair, and hold things in place without creating a lot of mess. They are gentle on the scalp, strong and secure. I think it's important to consider that the person whose hair you're doing is a person, and to respect them with your tools. If you ever get any of those U-pins that have just the ends cut off and they don't have the little silicone or rubber end on them, try putting it on your own scalp and scratching it back and forth like that. It's disgusting. It literally scratches and cuts your scalp. So think about that. These are fantastic for updos. Again, I'll talk to you about how specifically to use them in the fundamental skills section. Let's now take a look into the 2 comb cases. Why I have 2, I can't tell you, but I do have 2. In this one, I have a wide tooth tail comb, which I keep in my onset bag. It's a really good go-to just for hooking and flicking hair, dragging hair through it. It's a big, strong, pointy, like a very easy to use tool. I keep a color brush or a tint brush in there. There's a number of reasons for this. You can use it to apply gel onto the hair. You can use it to smooth out the hairline or little edges of hairs. You can spray hairspray onto it and just smooth things out a little bit. It's really useful to have a color brush in your kit. I keep a soft diffuser in there. Now I like this YS Park diffuser sock, because it actually works like a proper diffuser, and it just is so compact you can keep it in there. The reason I use a diffuser sock as opposed to a standard diffuser is a standard diffuser takes up so much space, and because it's hard plastic can break easily in your kit, and if it breaks, it's no use to you. I have a couple of special combs that I've collected along the way. These are antique Japanese wooden combs that the geisha used. This one I picked up from an antique market in Byron Bay, and this one I picked up in Kyoto, where there are still geisha and hairdressers doing shimada for the geisha. This particular comb was used for creating the shimada. I don't use it a lot, but I do use it when I'm doing some very tricky technical work and I want a comb that I can drag through the hair. Now, one of the nice things about the wooden comb is that it seems to just carry a little bit of oil, or the hair's natural oil. It doesn't create any static, and when you drag it through the hair, it adds a layer of shine that is quite phenomenal. I mean, it's very subtle, but it's like taking things from good to amazing. Sometimes you just need a little thing like that. Now, I keep this one in this little fragile case because the original antique one, which I got and paid, I think was 130 bucks for, the first day on set, one of the photographic assistants snapped it in half, which wasn't very nice. I've actually got another little mini one of those in there. So those two amazing shimada combs are a real treat, and they only come out on special occasions. What else have we got in here? So I keep a couple of rolls of cotton thread, different colors, light and dark. These are very useful. For some reason, this is an amazing tool here. This is a 3-pronged tail comb. So it's basically got 3 combs in one. I use this in an old school barbering way when I'm blow drying very short hair and I want to put a little wave or a little bend in it and use the heat to hold that in. That's an old school barbering trick, which I'll show you in the fundamentals section of Session Styling Secrets. And I keep my extension glue in my comb cases. This is gold, this particular glue. I get this from a place called Helena Wigs or Helena Hair, which is in Koreatown in New York. This is the special stuff that they keep under the counter. It's not the stuff that they have on the shelf, so you have to ask for it specifically. And the great thing about this glue when you're gluing in extensions is that it doesn't leave any residue behind. It comes out of the hair very easily. Most models will tell you, yeah, I've heard that a million times before, but this glue is the real deal. This is the glue that I discovered when I was working on Guido's team, and it's the only glue I ever use. In the other comb case here, I have some more thread. I have a Ray Morris contouring brush. I only use this on special occasions as well, just for smoothing out little hairs on the head if it's super fine hair work. I have a YS Park metal-ended tail comb for doing super fine sectioning. I have a wide tooth comb. I have an old pair of scissors. These are just for cutting thread and elastic and any other thing like synthetic hair. These are very handy to have. These are the one things that I lose constantly on set. For some reason, stylists and stylist assistants grab the scissors, take them to use them, and don't bring them back. In this kit, I keep a couple of little surfboard clips just for holding hair down when blow drying. I keep a little mini toothbrush style brush and an assortment of rough and ready combs in there. Some of them are just decorative, like for example this tortoiseshell style one is nice when a client says, oh, it'd be really lovely to have the girl combing through her hair or to have the model combing through their hair. This is a nice photogenic comb. And then this is my French pastiche brush that I got from, and they still sell them actually, in a little hairdressing wholesaler in the Passage de l'Industrie in Paris. There's a little hair district and there's a little alleyway that has about 5 hair tools and products wholesalers in it. One of them has these brushes, and they're an all natural hardwood with an all natural pure bristle brush in 3 rows. The way that the brushes are, that the bristles are cut and stacked in a nice V formation like this, means that you can do very, very fine work, but it's also very strong. That is my #1 go-to pastiche finishing brush almost every day on almost every shoot. So that's that kit. Let's have a look in the other kit.